Hey there! So we just moved onto our farm a few weeks ago and it's been crazy trying to get things set up, cleaned up. We're not quite ready for a lot of the regular farming tasks just yet because we are just starting out, but I'm excited to announce that we brought in our first working creatures on the farm. They're a little unusual, probably something you're honestly not expecting. I wouldn't expect it at first either, but these little guys are incredibly hardworking and they will pay off next year when we start to grow our crops, our vegetables, our fruit, all those things. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to our first working creatures. So here we have our first creatures, our worms. They're in here, but they're hiding because it's sunny outside. But I did see them. I checked on them last night, and there are some big ones in there. There's some babies in there. I can see some movement in the dirt there. But these guys are our official first project to set up here. So worms are incredibly beneficial. They're castings, which is really just poop. It's an all-natural fertilizer, completely non-toxic, 100% safe for children and animals. It introduces biodiversity into the soil in and around your crops. Amazing beneficial microbes. It can increase crop yields. It can help retain water. So many fantastic things just with worm poop. So we are going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to make a worm farm. Okay, so right here I have the materials and I have my daughter help me film this right now. So these here are the materials that you use for your farm, minus the cat that's just kind of hanging out. So what you need really just to start is 2 totes with a lid, a drill and a small drill bit. We're using about 1/8 of an inch bit. You need some worm food, which we've been collecting the past few days. I have a little bucket of water here, and of course your worms. So let's get started. So first of all, this is the bin that the worms are going to go into and kind of live in. So what you need to do is you need drainage holes in the bottom. So take your drill here and make nice even holes. Just like that. Like that, all the way across here. The reason we're doing this is because we don't want the worm's habitat to become too wet, too flooded. We want a way for the water to escape and also to give the worms a little bit of a break as well, because worms can't just live in all water. It has to be somewhat dry, not soaking, not too dry, not too wet, kind of in between, so this will catch any of the extra. I'll just do a couple here. There. You also need ventilation holes. If you don't have ventilation holes, then it's just going to create a lot of unnecessary moisture, and it's also going to stink more. So I'm using the same bit, just because I also don't want the worms to escape, and I don't want to increase our chances of fruit flies, mites, all the pests that could get in there just from smelling the food scraps. So we're going to go ahead and make some ventilation holes on the side. That's good. And on the other side. See? So do a little close up here. You see in the bottom we have our drainage holes. In the sides we have some ventilation holes. I may add some more later. We'll kind of see what I think about it later on. So this is a really kid-friendly activity, and I had my daughter helping. She was bored one day. So I gave her the task of shredding up a whole bunch of cardboard. But it needs to have a little bit of moisture. It can't be soaking. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the cardboard wet, like that. Bring out the excess water, throw it in our bin. And we're going to be doing that with all the cardboard. You can do it with regular paper as well. It's just best if it's not bleached paper, not colored paper. The more natural, the better. All right, so my daughter and I just wet all of the bedding. So like I said, it can be cardboard, it can be plain paper, it can even be shredded newspaper. Just as long as it's not bleached or anything like that. And it is wet, but not soaked. So ideally for bedding, you should add bedding essentially every time you feed them. So whether that's every few days, reason being you put the food in first, which I'll show you in just a moment, and then you cover it with the bedding, and that will also help deter any kind of pests that may get in there to go after the food. Okay, so I have my daughter filming again. I have our scraps, which you've just labeled worm food. It's stuff like apple cores, banana peels, they love peaches, they love really any kind of peels for most fruits and vegetables, minus citrus, of course. It's just too acidic for them and can actually make them sick and make them not want to eat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw all this good stuff right in the middle there. Gross. And we're going to cover it up, and that'll help with the smell. There you have it. Now all we have to do is add the worms, and we're good to go. Before I do that though, there are drainage holes in the bottom, so it needs to go inside this bin here. That way the drainage doesn't just sit in there with the worms, it goes to the bottom. And there you have it. So I'm gonna have my kids come out here and fill this with worms, and hopefully this works out, and we'll check on them in another day or so.